So I'll start with you, Gabe. You know, you considering your last film was Class '92. Really enjoyed, really enjoyed that. You know, that's one that's focused on strong bonds, like within football players and football, and, you know, them having a sense of family themselves. I mean, this film is, you know, a fictional film about fractured ties within sort of football hooligans and football like fans and watchers. So my question would be, what do you consider the like? What made you consider the themes and the thematic actuals?
Well, I think it's always important that you're doing something bigger than, you know, the top line of the film. So with Class '92, which I co-directed with my brother, it was all about, we were telling the story of what they won and this sort of success story. But ultimately, as you said, it was about five guys, five mates, and that kind of journey together, and the bond and the relationships and the friendships and everything like that. Yeah. So there's always sort of different levels of what you're saying on the film. So this film, the top line is really, you know, it's kind of old versus young, but ultimately it's all about relationships and family, and about, you know, who you rely on, who you don't, when you can turn your back, when you can't, what, you know, what kind of follows you, what you can get away from. And all those themes, I think, build it to make it much richer in terms of the content, and to deliver on that top line. So, you know, you've always got to deliver the top line, but if you can stack up all of the rest of it, then I think it works. So the reason why I was interested in this film was because I felt that there was a really interesting thing to explore, in that you could have the old versus the young, but the thing to explore was, you know, but why has stuff changed, and whose fault is it, and who's responsible, and you know, is it productive, is it counterproductive, where does it lead you to, can you get away from it? So all of those things I thought you could explore, all of those kind of ideas you could explore within the story. But no, I really like the idea of having characters that weren't so clear to define. So it wasn't a goodie and a baddie, but it was more characters that are riddled with contradictions, that sometimes do really nice things and sometimes do terrible things, and that doesn't make them great or bad people. It makes them normal people, and maybe just a bit more extreme than us.
Indeed. I mean, Harley, your performance is quite unnerving at times, and just a little bit creepy at times, isn't it? And I was just wondering what influences did you sort of draw from cinematic or actor point of view to kind of get that tension?
Well, first of all, I've always wanted to play a psychopath. That's been like kind of like a thing that I've wanted to do for many years. Kind of my favourite role growing up was when I know he's not necessarily a psychopath, but he's quirky, weirdo. I was playing Mercutio in Romeo and Juliet. He's eccentric and he's weird and he's all over the place.
Is that Baz Luhrmann's?
Well,
just
the character in general, kind of Mercurial being the derivative of Mercutio, whatever. But yeah, it was. I've always wanted to play kind of like a weird psycho guy, and when I read this script, I kind of looked at it and thought, there's something that I can really bring to this. I can really bring a sense of psychotic to this character. And I kind of watching Ben Kingsley in Sexy Beast, his role is something that I drew from, and obviously Heath Ledger as the Joker is something that I also drew little bits from. And I think there's something very powerful within that kind of stillness and staring. I think that's very powerful, as opposed to, I think it's very different to the kind of the angry guy who's like powerful and brutal. I think there's something more powerful in just being very calm and just sinister, and kind of just being very like quite intelligent. I think that's sort of sometimes quite a sinister quality. But yeah, so those certain roles I kind of drew from, and it was kind of obvious to me when I read the script that this was the kind of direction I wanted to go with this character, as opposed to being like just like a brute.
I mean, going back to you, Gabe, was there like football hooligan features of the past that kind of influenced the film at all, or just, you know, gangland dramas in general?
Yeah, I think there's a few different things that influenced it for me. I like the original Firm, and I actually cast one of the members of the original Firm, Jay Simpson, who plays Dom in the Firm, in the original one. He's in the film and he's fantastic. So I like that film from years ago. And then I don't know, there's a bit in there from The Wire, which oddly. Okay. So the sort of Harley's relationship with his brother is kind of based a little bit around the character of Michael and his little brother, and there are various different sort of elements to, because I was obsessed with that series, and I really enjoyed the depth of all of those characters and what could have been a very simple kind of TV drama had so much to it, so much stacked up. So I was kind of influenced by that and football films of the past. But just, you know, you kind of get weird little bits of inspiration from like loads and loads of different films. And sometimes even like just stuff you see online. So for example, The Punch, David Essex's Punch to Harley. That's actually, I actually saw a video online of a sort of ex-Vietnam vet. No, not a Vietnam vet, it's like a sort of ex-Marine, and it's in a guy's like on his sort of porch, kind of giving him like loads and loads of abuse, going, come on, and the guy looks really, so he's out of shape and he looks old and not interested, and this young guy's like egging him on, like being really out of order, like really trying to get a rise out of him, and then eventually pushes this guy too far and he just bang knocks him clean. And like I just saw that online, I was like, oh my god, that would be a brilliant scene to put in here. So your inspiration usually comes from loads of different places, and you just piece together all the kind of things that you've seen and stuff that sort of shaped your tastes and interests, and then try and sort of put it down. And you know, just even technically, like there was a shot from 300 when they first came into battle, which I really wanted to do when the guys fought, which they'll tell you I bored everyone with like 2 hours worth of like, no, we've got to get the shot. Come on, dude. But it's you know, you get it from everywhere. You get it from everywhere.
What about going back to you, Harley? Despite going to the famous the Brit School, and you know so many alumni have come through there and whatnot, and they usually just find their niches and whatnot. Did you find the transition from music to and music and touring to film like challenging? Did you find it, you know?
Not majorly challenging. I think because I was so prepared to jump into the acting world that I was already mentally prepared for that. I mean, I did so much acting growing up that I was kind of ready. And then growing up, I had to grow up very quickly as well in the music world, because we kind of got thrown into it at the age of 18, 19. We were in the public eye from a very young age. So we kind of had to grow up very, very quickly. And I think that what really helped jumping into this side of like the creative world was that I already had like a bucketload of confidence. I'm not necessarily arrogant, but I'm just very confident in myself and in kind of my ability in certain ways. And yeah, I just think if you can always impress yourself, I think that's the most important thing. I think if you can do things which you're happy with, I'm a believer that it doesn't really matter necessarily what other people think.
Fair enough. Time's short, so I'm going to just skip to, you know, both fans of football. Found out you're a Sunderland fan, so 2 against 1 here. But predictions for the upcoming season now that it's just started.
Well, I'm very excited to see how Jack Rodwell performs for Sunderland. Great signing for us. But
I love how that's like your like key signing. Like
yeah, but you would be Arsenal would be happy to sign Jack. Actually, you've got so many midfielders. Your reserve midfield would walk into like every spot in ours.
Yeah.
But no, I'm excited about this season. I think it'd be nice if we got Barini through before the window ends. Yeah. But I think we're in better shape now. Gus has got something going there, and I think we'll be much safer this year. But I think you guys you've got a proper chance. I mean,
if we start playing football.
It was a bit tough on the Crystal Palace one.
Yeah,
it was just a little.
And last night we played. Last night we played pretty awful.
Yeah, but I think it takes time to get going. But like Ramsey for me is like as good as anyone out there. I mean, he's unbelievable.
Yeah, he is.
And I think I don't know. I think you could be in with a chance this year. You never know though. It's going to be so, you know, Chelsea are going to be awesome. Yeah, but City will probably be excellent this year. And United, I know they're not yet, but I think they probably will get up to speed once they get to the end of the transfer window. They brought in Rojo, didn't they? And they'll probably bring in a couple of others, I think. So I'm sure they'll be all right.
See, yeah.
All right.